to prove it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made of. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for this.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what? Racing, you wanted the best, you got him 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
To the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit crash sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside, and Tronke goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though. Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the Paravolca. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashube, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
All right, and welcome back, team, to our fifth night of our iKartSport Chocolate Fish Club Day karting. Obviously back on a favoured Tuesday night. Hopefully we're going to be back at the racetrack very soon, so bring our broadcast to you live on a Tuesday evening. And hope everybody's all tucked up inside, nice and warm. Got another fantastic night of MX5 racing for you. And you're going to see certainly some different visuals tonight. We've got some really advanced stuff coming through. Welcome back to the commentary box. Dave Sierra, Simon Evans, F. Tiff Chittenden. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Tony. It's obviously good to be back again. Last week was the racing was pretty cool with the MX5. So it's we've brought them back this week. So I think that should provide some really cool close racing once again. So I'm really interested to see who's popped up from last week. See if we've got anyone new along to see if we can challenge the guys for the win. But hey, it's really exciting to be back. And obviously, Dave, thanks for joining us again. How do you feel after last week?
Mate, I'm a little bit nervous tonight. There seems to be a big broadcast happening. I can see SimSpeed TV is joining us to get this out to the world for us. So thanks very much to those guys. And obviously, thanks very much to our new sponsor, Cook Straight Crossing. We're going to speak to Tony Hurst later on about it. But like I said, really excited to be back. There's a lot of New Zealand talent here on show. So, look, I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan Wood and a few of those other guys go at it again.
Yeah, most definitely, Dave. It's, as we said, back in the MX5. Different track this evening, Summit Point Raceway. Personally, obviously, I'm not a massive gamer, so I haven't driven it myself. But by all accounts, a few people I have spoken to, I'm really impressed with the circuit layout and should be a good leveler. And as we said, once again, this evening we've got Tiff Jidden in our commentary box joining us, just helping out with the social media side of things, and also got some information on a few of our new sponsors we've got this week to come on board. Really great to have them on board. You see Liquid Action up there on the left-hand side. And so good to be back there, Tiff.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah, great to be back. And like Dave said, looking very pro this evening. So make sure you comment on the KartSport New Zealand, the Facebook live stream. Any questions, anything, any cheering on you want to do of the people out there, we'll make sure we get some mentions out there too. And also, yeah, so I've been talking to the Borhams from Liquid Action, and they're one of our new sponsors tonight, and which is great. It's what karting's all about. You know, they're involved from Nelson. So yeah, the family Arthur races. He's in VMR, and the Matt is very involved in the Marlborough Kart Club as well. So it's great to have the sponsor like that on board that's, you know, actually is involved in karting, and they just said they want to get involved because they want, if anyone watches this that isn't a karter, if they end up coming to the kart track in the future, that's what they want to do. So yeah, great to be involved. Just make sure if you've got any questions that you ask them on the Facebook feed.
Fantastic. That'll be great to see if we can get some good banter going through there, cheering on your drivers there, team, and hopefully cheering on some commentators. We copped a bit of flack last week. Apparently we weren't doing a good enough job, but for a bunch of amateurs, I don't think we're doing too bad there, team. So, You'll see we've got some really cool banners. Scotty and Jay and the team from SimSpeed have stepped things up a little bit for us, and obviously Travis is still in the background there running everything as well. So we've got a really good crew behind us, and we've got some really cool visuals that you'll see popping across the screen tonight. So a little bit short of 2 minutes before we get into our first qualifying there, team. 15 minutes. What are you thinking, Simon?
Yeah, so tonight's format as well, obviously, so we've got an open 15-minute qualifying, and that's going to set the grid for race 1. But then what's actually quite important is the race 2 is going to be a reverse grid for race 1. So qualifying is going to be important, but obviously, even if you do have a bad race 1, at least you'll be in a good starting position for race 2. So that's going to be pretty exciting. The guys are also going to have 3 fast repairs as well. So what that is you can come into the pit lane and basically repair the car in no time, so that you can straight back out on circuit. And from what we saw a few weeks ago, the penalty points as well. So at 20 times penalty points, there will be a penalty, and then at 40 there'll be a DQ, and something else as well. Everyone will be doing standing starts tonight. So that's just a bit of an update of the formats that we're going to be running tonight. And this at the Summit Point Raceway, which a few long straights here I did be open practice the other night, and it's going to create for some good racing. If you get a couple of bad exits, you're definitely going to be pretty vulnerable here, and I think the toe is going to be a factor.
We've also starting to see some new liveries pop up. I can see Ryan Woods running his factory karting team, the Patrizzi Course Ricardo outfit. So keep an eye out for the new colours for the Ryan Wood. He's got the number 1 on. So whether that's going to be an Omen running a new number this week, time will tell. We've got a new name at the top of the practice leaderboard, Stephen Beaumont. So I'm not too sure much about Stephen Beaumont, but he's setting the benchmark early on in practice as we step into the first qualifying session for tonight. This is going to be all important for the opening grid positions for race 1.
Yeah, very much so, Dave. It's going to set our grid for the first race, and also give us a decent idea, where everyone's sort of pace is at. It's obviously had plenty of people practicing during the week, no doubt, and everyone's really getting amongst the CMX5 action. Been speaking to a lot of people on the phone during the week, and people still really buzzing about driving the MX5. It's a good leveler. Car gives really good feedback, and you'll see we've got some fantastic visuals as they all come on out for qualifying. And there's Ryan Wood in the Ricardo Kart livery that we're talking about. And so really, really cool to see what you can actually do with your liveries on this iRacing platform. It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. See, the Ricardo Kart livery is very new, and good to see he's got Carter's tyre service on the bonnet there too. But actually, he has a bit of a moment. Now, if you are new to iRacing as well, one thing to take note of is that if you are to drop a wheel off the track, say if you see any dust flying, that's actually going to cancel your lap. So you can do your best lap possible, but right at the end of the lap, put a wheel off onto the grass, that's actually going to cancel your lap. So the trick to this qualifying is obviously you want to maximize everything, but you have to be so precise just trying to get that quickest lap. Even if you're to make contact with another car, that's going to cancel your lap out as well. So just take note as you are watching these guys, especially for those drop wheels, because that's definitely not like real life qualifying.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to go on board with Ryan Wood currently. So he's on his first flying lap. He's got a bit of a slipstream happening in front of him as well. So that's going to pay dividends as we work our way towards the end of the lap as well. We just can't get held up into this infield section as he's following this car. It's going to sort of jeopardise his run down the back straight here, which is not ideal for a qualifying lap. You want to sort of get some clear track to be able to maximise your lap times. We can see him making his way past. And the benchmark lap timing practice was a 1:23.7 from Stephen Beaumont as well. So there's no doubt times are going to progressively drop as we go. We can see our lap times on the top left-hand side of the screen at 1:26.9 for now.
Yeah, it's as Simon mentioned, hopefully we obviously see some new names. We'll have some old favourites as well as we go on board with Ryan Wood here. I just can't get over the visuals that we're seeing. It's really, really quite impressive. So probably the closest thing you'll get to real life, as they say. It's really amazing what we're quite capable of. So you'll see the timing screen up there on your left-hand side, and obviously got the distance between each competitor there as well. So it really gives you an idea of where everyone's placed at the moment, what their pace is like, and as Simon said, probably going to see some new names pop up there, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely one name that I've noticed there, Tony, is Marcus Armstrong. So great to see Marcus coming back, obviously doing big things overseas. Obviously was meant to be running Formula 2 this year, obviously the below F1. So fantastic to see him coming back and supporting our Chocolate Fish Virtual Club Day. But just caught in the background there, looks like Ryan Wood was having a bit of a moment as he was trying to chase down Marcus, who were on board now in the number 13. So there's Ryan. A bit of a moment, but yeah, really tricky section through here. A little bit off camber as we go through the right, then it ducks back left, and then it's another fast right onto a long straight as we then approach the final corner. So obviously wanting to really use all the circuit. A few guys off to the right there, obviously trying to maximise it. But you got a nice long session, 15 minutes, not a super long lap. So Dave, I think you'll be able to obviously try maybe burn some fuel down in the car and then try set a lap on towards the end of the session.
Yeah, like we were saying, we can see Stephen Beaumont. He seems to be the early pace setter with a high 1 minute 23 as well. So he's got just over a second at the moment on his fellow competitors. We've got Brad Still, long-time kart racer. Obviously, Marcus Armstrong's bumped his way into position 3. No doubt he's only just joined our server late in the evening, but a man of his experience. I know he's quite young, but he's driven enough race cars in his time to get the hang of these things pretty quickly as well. So be interested to see when Ryan Wood's going to set his lap time. We know he's always very, very fast in this iRacing format as well. So he's going to be one to watch, the number 1 Ricardo kart entry.
Yeah, very much so, Dave. And yeah, how cool is it to have Marcus on board? You know, obviously, you're very high-level New Zealand karter when he was based here in New Zealand. Went off to Europe, ran with the Factory Tony kart team and KF and KZ, and obviously gone on to some really impressive things in open wheelers. Now a Ferrari Academy driver, so cool to see Marcus here. And obviously, Brad's still there in P2. He's actually my workmate that I pour concrete with down here in Taranaki, so we've actually had a massive day on the tools. And it's good to see that Brad's actually dragged himself probably out of the shower, got all that concrete dust off him, and he's actually doing a half-decent job for Brad, to be fair. So we'll keep an eye on him this evening.
Yeah, if he's had to have a day with you, Tony, he's probably feeling mentally drained. So let's just see how his concentration is towards the end of the race.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
Another name, fair comment. Another new name I see, Ryan Bailey, has popped up there, Ryan Bailey too. So that'll be quite cool. He hasn't competed in the past couple of weeks, so fantastic to see him as we ride on board him in the blue number 3 entries. So sitting in P5, 1.5 seconds off the pace, but I'm sure he'll be starting to motor down. The cool thing about iRacing is you can actually burn your fuel load down. We will see the session times probably peak right towards the end of the session if the guys play it smart. If you damage your car, have to come in and repair it. It actually resets the fuel load. So what I know, Ryan Wood has been doing a lot of racing on here now, so I'm sure this is the method that he'll be trying to use. But a little bit different, obviously, the karting method. You don't have to worry about fuel loads or anything, so it's probably a different mindset for these guys, isn't it?
That's right. Obviously, like you said, it's a little bit different, but still the same principles take place whether you're on the kart racing track or you're in the simulation, the eSports series that we're in at the moment, because qualifying is still, very, very important to get your track position. Obviously, then you limit the amount of damage that's going to happen in the race. You give yourself the best possible opportunity off the start line to get some clear track. So, as you were mentioning earlier, the reverse grid format is really cool to keep, people to give them a chance in both races. As we've seen now, Ryan Wood's he's set an absolutely blistering lap time of a 1:22.8. It's the fastest lap we've seen all evening. He goes 1 second clear of the rest of the pack. So, as you were saying, Simon, getting that fuel load down, getting a slipstream is all important on this track. and Ryan's really set the gauntlets tonight.
He's obviously, got himself a bit of clear track. We did see, Ryan have a bit of a moment early on, a half spin, and we actually were fortunate enough to sort of be on board there. That was just some really cool visuals. So, but he's obviously settled it down. He's got a good gap from the car in front, so he's given himself a good gap, that carrot that we talk about, so we can naturally brake a little bit later. Make a gain off the slipstream as well too. That's obviously ever present when you're dealing with smaller horsepowered stuff. So Ryan's got the ears pinned back, got the eyes forward, and doing a really great job. Si.
Yeah, I've just flicked over to the live time, and it looks like he's actually pressing on with another lap. He's gone purple in sector 1, so he looks like he's really pinning those ears back now. So it looks like flicking back to the screen, he's backed out of it. So whether he wants to make sure he gets a clear track or not give guys too much of a draft, that'll be quite interesting. But a few new names here as well that I'm just noticing. Ethan Worthington, Oscar Goldfinch, Scott Fountain, old Carter from Wellington. Great to see him board, and he's actually part of the Sim Speed team. So fantastic that he's obviously running the show, but he's actually out there competing with us too. And here he is in the nice white and is that red or pink livery? But Scott's done a lot of sim racing now, so I'm expecting him to be and show his experience towards the end of the night.
I think you call that colour magenta. I think it is. It's a mixture of red and pink.
There we go. Yeah.
I used to actually have a car in magenta as well, so that definitely got a few looks as I was driving past on the road.
It's just pink, guys. It's pink.
Okay, just a clarification from our female reporter in TIFF. So really, there's no excuse for Scott Fountain. He's Sim Speed TV. We'd like to say he's had a bit of experience behind the simulator as well. So no pressure. I don't want to put the mocker on him at the moment. He's currently in P6 as we're following him on board. We've gone back to Ryan Wood now, who's, like I said, he's set the benchmark nice and early in the session. There's 4.5 minutes remaining. We'll see if anyone can challenge Ryan Wood's best time of a 1:22.8.
Yeah, that's a blistering time there by Ryan. How busy is it in the cockpit for Scott Fountain? Like, he's obviously got computers and keyboards, and he's running everything that we're watching, but he's also driving at the same time. Like, I really can't get my head around that. I struggle to drive on PlayStation 2 and Mario Kart, so full credit to Scotty for running all this, and he's still managed to steer the race car as well too. So we take a look down the order. Brad's still dropping to P8. Obviously, the big day at work's got the better of him. He's starting to fade a little bit. Ollie Workman in P9. How cool's that? So Ollie sort of got half his simulator together for the first couple of nights, so he was actually driving on a keyboard. And so I can't actually imagine how hard that would have been for him, but his wheels actually arrived now, so he's got his wheel and his pedals, and he's all up and running and running in P9 there. So really good to see Ollie on board there, and he's probably sort of one of our youngest competitors that we'll have here, along with a lot of all our other Vortex Mini Rock drivers and Junior Rotex drivers there, Simon.
Yeah. You have to love the keyboard setup. You can't knock him for actually getting out there, giving it a go, and that's the Kiwi spirit that we like. It doesn't matter. It's like tuning up to the old kart track in the back of the van or on just on a rental trailer, isn't it? Yeah, and going out and having a go. So good on him. Looking at the times now, a few guys starting to pop up. Obviously, Stephen Beaumont there, just 4/10 off Ryan Wood's fastest time. And then we've got Scott Fountain. He's starting to sneak at 3. So one of the Eakins that have come in to grab a new set of tyres to complete this last 3 minutes of the session.
As you were saying, one of the cool things about Ollie Workman having just the keyboard is that's a pretty impressive setup that he's got going, and obviously, obviously I'm very appreciative of him still taking part in all this series. We're trying to get young kids competing against the more experienced drivers as well. They can still learn some of the traits that these older drivers do use on the racetrack that they can take back to the karting circuit when we're fortunate enough to hit the tracks again. So you'll be able to see some of the opening lap battles that these guys have to defend their racing line and things like that. That Ollie Workman, even though he's on a keyboard, he can still learn and actually watch these experienced guys and how they go about things that I'm sure will take a lot away from this simulator racing in due course.
Yeah, very much to that. And I actually think his steering wheel and that has arrived now, Dave. So that might be making his job a little bit easier. But to be fair, if I had a steering wheel or a keyboard or whatever, I would be highly average at this. So you can see you've got some onboard there with Ollie, nice and smooth on the steering wheel. Real small inputs. You're obviously driving this lower horsepower stuff. You really just need to keep those inputs as smooth as possible. Really feel the car underneath you. And Ollie's a little bit of oversteer on throttle as he exits the right-hander there. Quite a cool circuit. This is obviously my first view of it this evening, but lots of camber in it, lots of rise in the track, and it's certainly got some character. Simon, have you managed to drive around here this week?
I have, mate. Yeah, I snuck on the other night just to do a bit of practice, and there was a KartSport server up, so I jumped on in. There was quite a few guys there, but really hard to get the flow through of the lap. So I think that's where a lot of the time is, but also getting the draft down the front straight too. Tiff on the left is qualifying, but who have you noticed joining the stream, or have we had any feedback in our Facebook feed? Read the of our fantastic new live stream.
Yeah, so we've got regularly over 100 people watching so far, and this is just for qualifying, so that's great. Some regular names popping up. So if you've been on the New Zealand karting scene, you'll know Fraser Parkinson. He'll probably be missing karting more than anyone. He runs his son John, and he said he's looking forward to some of TC's banter. Now I'm guessing he means you, Tony, probably by that, but he also suggested a drinking game that every time TC says very much so, we should do a shot. But if he hears how much rubbish we talk normally, imagine us all drunk. So probably not the best advice. But yeah, lots of people watching. Also, Laurie Griffin, who I think helps out at some of the KartSport New Zealand meetings, wants to congratulate Simon on his new niece. So there you go, Simon.
Oh, congrats, mate. Well done.
Yeah, well, yeah. To myself, I didn't really do a lot of the work. It's my sister and her husband, but you're just happy to be there, really. Well, thanks for that update there, Tiff. So that's the end of qualifying. It's Ryan Wood, our man from the previous weeks, runs the pole. So I think he was definitely the favourite going in, Dave.
Yeah, look, obviously we've changed cars, we've changed circuits from week to week, but there's still a certain name that stays towards the top of the field, and that's been Ryan Wood. He's definitely been one of the fastest drivers we've seen in the iRacing platform. Hasn't always translated to race victories. We saw last week he had his run for his money as well. So I've got no doubt that Stephen Beaumont, even though he's running the same Patrese course livery, I wonder if there's going to be any team orders taking place tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there, David. Yeah, good comment as you say about Ryan. He's been there from night one, right from when we ran supercars at Silverstone. Gone through all the various vehicles and circuits that we've run on, and he's always been a top performer. So good to see Ryan still performing really well as we follow off Kyle Hollingworth's lap as he finishes up his qualifying, and he's coming through in P7 there. So a good solid job by him. Nice basic livery there. Got some Logitech on there, so I know that he's probably running the Logitech G29 wheel, certainly a popular one of everyone here. And so really convincing qualifying there by Ryan. Obviously, Stephen Beaumont, P2. Scotty Fountain coming through in P3. Braden Snowd, the Whangarei driver. And Marcus Armstrong, our international Ferrari Academy driver, coming home in 5th there, Si.
Yeah. Then we've got Daniel Harvey there in 6th, followed by Kyle Hollingsworth, Isaac Fletcher, and Ryan Bailey, and your mate who's mentally drained with you today, Brad, still rounding out the top 10. 2.5 seconds of pace. I'd probably there's probably 2 seconds in dealing with you all day. So he's realistically, I think he's only 14.
Tough crowd.
He's got some sore shoulders from having to carry you all day, Tony.
Oh, mate, if you'd seen the workload, I'd carry that guy, mate. God, he should be on P3, mate. He's had the easier day. But anyhow, we'll talk about that another time.
On this week's Cool Cars, the new Volkswagen T-Cross, the Porsche 911 992 C2 is in the showroom, an all-new Lamborghini. Max Verstappen drives the Valkyrie, and we talk to Brendan Hartley. It's all just a click away.
All right. Welcome back there, team. Quick short break after qualifying there. Thought it was a good chance to bring in Tony Hurst from Cook Strait Crossings. He's been a long-time supporter of motorsport New Zealand, not only karting, but big long-time supporter of motorsport, getting people across our infamous bit of water from north to south. How you going, Tony?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Thanks for inviting me.
No problems. Great to have you on board, and thanks for your support of not only KartSport New Zealand, but obviously the sim racing platform that we have here tonight. So I just got a couple of questions that I sort of made up today. I thought it would be a good chance to expand on sort of what you do as a business and how it all sort of works. So maybe probably first one is, what's your involvement with the two shipping companies that get us across the water between north and south?
Well, basically, mate, a long time ago, we struck a deal trying to help motorsport competitors out, get them some decent rates, because it's not a cheap journey to get across from north to south or south to north.
That's right.
The advantages really of booking through Cook Strait Crossings is everything's fully flexible. There's no money up front. You don't need to pay until a week before you go, and even once payment's been made, it's 100% refundable if you should need to cancel. And in these troubling times, we may need to cancel events and just don't know. It's all new to us now. It's the cheapest prices available, and the prices don't change all year round. So normally in the peak season, see the prices go through the roof, whereas mine don't change whatsoever. And like I said just before, it's fully flexible. There's no risk because you don't even pay. And like I said, if you have paid, fully refundable if you need to cancel. So
yeah, very much so.
Really.
And how many stories have we heard? So when we went into level 4 lockdown, how many people lost their ferry tickets because they went through a cheap option through the sales websites?
It's quite, well, not funny because it's a bit of a disaster for a lot of people. But if you didn't book through Cook Strait Crossings, first of all, you would have paid more, even with the cheapest offers, with the web saver offers, etc. On a full flexi, but still cheaper than the web saver.
Yes.
Everybody who had to cancel their bookings, and I can tell you now, it was tens of thousands of people who didn't get across, all were fully refunded. Well, that's if you booked through me. If you didn't book through me, then basically you were stuck to the terms of your booking. So if it was a web saver, you either got a voucher, which may be of no use to you in the future, or you lost your money. Kind of a no-brainer, but the important thing for everybody is if you've got something coming up, you need to book now without any risk whatsoever. You don't have to pay now. Really, you're reserving yourself a spot on the boat. Yes. That makes you, Tony?
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. So, and so who can take advantage of your service?
Anybody can. Competitors, supporters, families and friends. Like I said, it's really important to reserve your space. You could be facing, because we don't know the future at the moment, especially with the COVID situation, could be facing maximum passenger counts per sailing because of social distancing. If you've booked yourself a space, good to go, unless things do change, which hopefully they don't. Obviously, nobody wants that.
Yeah, that's right. So, hopefully from here on in, it's, travelling regionally, it's just going to be a lot easier and should open up things back to normal. So, and obviously we've got some Trade Me options to talk about that you've kindly donated to KartSport New Zealand to donate on Trade Me.
I have indeed. I've donated. I'd like to offer you guys 2 return journeys for a tow vehicle and a standard trailer, which would include 2 passengers. That could be a van, it could be a ute. Standard trailer is up to 5.5 meters. And whoever purchases those at whatever price, the winner will have 12 months to redeem the voucher or the prize, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. No, we really appreciate your support there, Tony. So, and we're not far off going to race 1. So, yeah, it's been really great having you on the show. and really appreciate your offer of putting up those Trade Me auctions. That's really cool. Obviously, people want to start travelling as soon as we can, and no doubt KartSport New Zealand will put a link up to those on their website and various means to and onto the Trade Me link there. And if you miss out on the Trade Me ad, Tony's details are available on the KartSport website. Utilise them. He's a really good guy to deal with, and he can certainly get you some good deals, and as Tony said, it's really flexible. So thanks very much, Tony. It's been great talking.
No worries, thank you, mate. Just finished with it. It's a no-brainer, mate. You either book through me or pay more.
Excellent, easy as that. It's pretty black and white, isn't it, people? So nice work, Tony. Thanks very much, mate.
Enjoy the rest of the racing. I am certainly enjoying it.
Good man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, mate.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty good to me there, team. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's pretty solid, isn't it? Yeah, lots of Tony's been around the motorsport scene for a long time, and he looks after so many different teams. All the teams that I know have booked through Tony, so he's a very good, reliable source. And like I say, you either use him or you pay more. So, a couple of the action. Got now just to clarify for everyone that was watching the stream during the qualifying, 4 different servers up with different people in different groups. What we have done is we've taken the fastest people from each of the group them in the first race for race 1. So we are going to see some names that we didn't originally see in the qualifying pop up. So we introduce have come through. So we're just under 2 minutes away from the race there.
Yeah, I just want to know, does Tony have any boats coming from New Zealand across to Australia? Because hopefully they can open up those borders soon and can grab a boat over, just in case.
Would you like to get take on the Spirit of Tasmania? You want to get it across from Melbourne to Tasmania, mate? Or
yeah, the Spirit to Auckland or something. I'm not sure how it all works, but I'm sure we could do something, get some go-karters across from Australia to New Zealand quite easily. There have been some big talks between our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, and New Zealand's lovely lady, Jacinda Ardern, I think her name is, about trying to open up the borders between the two countries, which would be kind of exciting because we know that a lot of New Zealand kart racers support the Australian kart racing scene as well. So obviously we want to welcome those guys back as soon as we possibly can because we know that you guys are seriously fast racers, so we're always up for the challenge.
Yep, very much so. As soon as we can not only get travelling and racing regionally here in New Zealand, we want to get across the Tasman as quick as we can and start racing on AKC and Pro Tour and the likes. So certainly as a mechanic and coach, I miss coming across, Dave. So the sooner the better. So obviously you'll see on our live timing there on the left-hand side, certainly a lot of new names that obviously now have joined our servers. You'll see people that were running in the other servers as well too. So we've got Corey Green, top performer from the previous evenings. George Sampson, Cameron Freeman, the South Island driver, Ben Stewart out of Wellington, Chester Baccaris out of Auckland. So how cool is this? We've got all these different servers that we're running now. We've dragged all those together there, Simon. So I can see Sloane Frost down there as well, massive supporter from the very first night, and Liam Pink. All these names, Jaden Ransley, God, they just keep popping up everywhere. I can't keep up. This is really cool.
Yeah, super cool, isn't it? A few of the names there. Billy Fraser, obviously was pretty fast last week. Andrew Jackson done lots of karting, running in 86 as well. Cameron Dance, he was the big mover the other week in the V8s. Jaden Ransley, I don't think he's got off his sim in the whole of lockdown. Got to watch out for him. He might have a spin on lap 1, so just got to have a look out for them. Good to see Marco Giltrap in there as well from the Giltrap Group, and our own Travis Smith is in there too. So plenty of names out there. Like we say, these are the fastest times, so I think we're going to have some pretty solid racing tonight.
No, that's right. Obviously, we're looking through our starting grid for race 1 here. We've got Ryan Wood and Jaden Ransley sharing the front row. Billy Fraser, last week's winner, and Cameron Dance on row 2. Stephen Beaumont in the Patrizzi course, Ricardo Kart in position 5 with Corey Ross. Scott Fountain, SimSpeed TV's own, in position 7 with Andrew Jackson. And rounding out the top 10 is George Sampson and Corey Green.
Fantastic. So we've got some big names in there, like Ryan Wood, Jaden Ransley, Billy Fraser. That's our 3 top performers that have been running every night. And Cameron Dance in P4. You know, Cameron's a avid sim racer, really active in the sim game. So good to see Cameron back on board. He's been doing all sorts of sim racing and iRacing stuff overseas. So cool to have him back on the grid there. And as we said, Scotty Fountain running the race and also driving in the race himself too. So he's going to be a busy boy. He's going to have full demisters running in that. So we're ready to go, and we're away for race 1 there, team. So I think we'll have they're off down towards turn 1, and we'll see how this is going to pan out, Si.
Yeah. So as we're heading up through turn 2 all the way up, looks like we saw Jaden Ramsey sneak off into the grass. So I did mention look out for a lap 1 off from him. He lived up in the bright pink car. We couldn't quite miss him. As we see a tap there from going around. So unfortunate, but at least you got in the back of the mind. You got them up. So he'll just be wanting to salvage and make his way up there slowly. And there's a few cars with a bit of damage here. So it looks like there's been a pretty solid concertina into turn 1, but we're just about to finish and looks like we've got Ryan Wood rounding out the first lap, Cameron Dance in second, Stephen Bunzak past Andrew Jackson there for 5th place.
It's been a great opening lap from Ryan Wood. He's got the jump. Obviously now he can just sort of set his sights on some consistent laps and try and build on that foundation he's made from the first lap. You see Zach Blinko, he's made a great move on Andrew Jackson there for position 5. So great start from Zach. He's one of the hard chargers at the start of this race. There seems to be quite a strong battle here from Stephen Beaumont in the Ricardo Kart entry. He's just ran wide. He's obviously trying to follow his teammate through in Ryan Wood, but just didn't quite get the best off the start line. Scott Fountain's doing a great job in the Magenta MX-5 that we can see. And like I said, there's been a few early battles, and one of the names we've lost is Jaden Ransley once again. I can't see his name on that leaderboard.
Yeah, Jaden's been very much up and down, hasn't he? He's showed some mega pace that just comes from doing a hell of a lot of laps, very experienced sim racer. But obviously he had a hell of a lot of bad luck, and it only takes someone to get into the back here, cause a bit of damage. You've got to go in and get it fixed. So as we go back down through our order, right down, and you'll see Marcus Armstrong there as well too, further down the order. So MX5 certainly a good leveler. You can come in reasonably experienced like Marcus is, and still be footing it with a lot of young Junior Max and Vortex Mini Rock drivers. So it's certainly a really exciting formula as the MX5 as we watch the first couple of laps unfold. Ryan Wood obviously still first place, Cameron Dance, Scotty Fountain, and Stephen Beaumont there in P4 there, Si.
Yeah, I think eyes have definitely got to be on Cameron Dance. Just put in the fastest lap of the race so far on lap 2. He's about 1.6 seconds off the lead now. So let's see if he can close that down and start to put a bit of pressure on Ryan Wood. But he's got Scott Fountain right behind him. So if these two work together, they might be able to do it. Just to 10 lap race, so you still got to be nice and keep, and then build it towards the end there. But down the pack there, looks like in the top 25 we've got Marcus Armstrong and Mark Giltrap have a really good battle. Ben Stewart's just ahead of them. Cameron Freeman, a name we've seen through the other weeks, he's in the top 20 as well. So pretty solid field here, and just see Jaden Ramsey starting to pop back up into 14th.
Yeah, Jaden's making a good comeback. He set some purple sectors there that I was keeping an eye on through the live time that we've got given to us. So, like I said, in position 13 at the moment, still with 6 laps remaining. There's no doubt that he can still pick his way through quite a few cars here. And like you said, then he's going to have the jump start on the leading pack with the reverse grid. So, they're the sort of things he's going to sort of try and take to his advantage. He can't catch Ryan Wood in this race, but if he can get the Wood over him in the second race, then he can still take something away from the night.
Yeah, very much so. And you'll see Jaden just chipping away here. You can see his experience in the car. He can actually get the car turned in a little bit earlier and still carry a fair amount of momentum off the turn as well too. So brilliant onboards here. as we swipe sideways to a fairly battered car 10 with the Corona Extra sign writing on there. So nice clean move there by Jaden as we head into the right-hander. As we said earlier on, the Summit racetrack here has got some really cool fall and elevation and what have you, and you can really see how softly sprung these MX-5s are. They've got plenty of attitude in the car. You can really see them getting into the track. The cars dance around. While they're not high in horsepower, they're certainly high in excitement. So we'll see our gap there from Ryan Wood down to Cameron Dance, just going on 1.5 seconds, not too far away there. Cameron's just still hunting away. A little bit far off trying to get a draft on Ryan there, but he'll keep chipping away, no doubt. And we'll certainly be watching this as it progresses. So,
yeah, absolutely. It looks Cameron Dance is starting to pump out fastest lap, another fastest lap on lap 3. Now just again on lap 4 with a 22.7. So he's the 1.2 seconds. So just starting to pull away from Scott Fountain, lay onto Ryan Wood, but. Just on board here with Billy Fraser and Jana Ransley again. So, oh no, who's that? That is Jana Ransley. I just didn't quite catch the second car. I think it could have been Josh Richmond with the flames on his MX-5. He always has the best liveries, but so much luck today. Did you catch who that was, Dave?
Sloane Frost. So Jaden Ransley and Sloane Frost have come together. We're going to watch our modem simulation replay right now. It was a very bold move from Jaden Ransley. He sort of sent old mate off. I'm not sure who old mate was, but he got rid of one, and then he thought, you know what, I'm going to get rid of another one, because if you're going to go down yourself, you might as well take as many as you can with you. That's the way I look at it. So a big move from Jaden Ransley. Unfortunately, that opening lap scuffle has really put a major dent in his race tonight.
Yeah, it has. And how's the tank slipper when he came back on the track as well, too? It was like watching someone at the TT Isle of Man just hanging on to the thing with his knees. So he's had a massive moment getting back on the track. And so, yeah, he certainly is. He's been in the wars tonight, Jaden. Like, certainly not lacking pace, but probably just lacking a little bit of luck. And just probably picking some better track position might get him a little slightly better luck anyway. So we'll see how his race pans out. But obviously it's fairly cactus now. So as we get back to our live visuals, and Ryan Wood still obviously our clear leader. Cameron Dance still has that margin hasn't opened up too much, but still struggling to close it a little bit. Hopefully he can close on in, obviously with 4 laps to go now, and try and peg that lead back a little bit.
Yes, we're right on following here, Andrew Jackson. Good to see a local company with the ITM on the bottom of his car. Obviously, it's important that we all support local and support all our local sponsors as well that support KartSport, that support Cars Tyre Service, Giltrap Group as well. I know the Giltrap Group is back up. The showrooms are open for appointment only in terms of sales next week, so that's pretty exciting. But it's pretty key that we support the ones that support us in motorsport. Looks like he's got Albany ITM, so great level of detail there on Andrew Jackson's car as he comes through the final onto the main straight here to complete his 6th lap. Just starting to pull a bit of a gap there on Dan Patrick and pin his ears back and go after the number 17 entry of Zach Blinko. But looks like Sloane Frost is just coming out of the pits as well, so he must have ducked in for one of those fast repairs I was talking about earlier. We can come in the pits and it will repair the car in record time, straight back out on circuit, because he's going to be trying to score some points. But on here with Cameron Dance, that gap has really just plateaued, hasn't it, to the 1.2, 1.1 seconds. But you can tell he's pushing. Couple wheels off there at the exit of turn 2. Once again on the run up to turn. Well, great shot this, isn't it, Dave? In terms of on board, you can see plenty of wheel work, catching a bit of opposite lock here. But Ryan Wood is definitely that carrot. He's dangling a carrot in front of him, trying to.
Yeah, obviously it's fantastic to see, these guys, how serious and how competitive they're taking it. We know that Cameron Dance and Ryan Wood have had plenty of battles over the course of the last 5 weeks. Ryan Wood's probably come out on top a couple more occasions than Cameron Dance, but as you can see, the Summer Point Raceway provides some very, very close racing. Cameron Dance is still in the slipstream there, and he has not let him go for the whole duration of this race. It's down to nearly under 1 second, so if the MX-5 has a DRS zone, I think he's almost in that DRS zone. He can almost pull the roof off the MX-5 and go for it.
Yeah, he's been working really hard, and as we said with that onboard, he's just honing in on Ryan, trying to get the most out of that slipstream that he can. Really getting the car turned in early, trying to keep the corners as short as possible, trying to keep that distance down. And how good was the onboards? Really see the car moving around. Obviously, having not driven it myself, but it seems quite forgiving in the way that the car's sprung and the attitude that the vehicle has. So, and the onboards are really, really quite impressive. And really be good to see Cameron get on the back of young Ryan, and hopefully we can see a ding-dong battle those last couple of laps.
You can definitely tell Ryan can sense he's there, because he's just ran 2 wheels off, and he's trying to maximise it. And that once again, that it's come down another tenth, that gap. It's only 7/10 of a second now. As we ride on, looking out the back of the Ricardo kart entry, you can see all the attitude of Cameron Dance's MX-5, using all the circuit. But yeah, if these MX-5s did have DRS, he's definitely riding the zone. But it might even be enough just to get into that slipstream and just help suck up. Look, 2/10 in that last sector. He's only half a second off the lead now. So as we come on to the 9th lap of our 10, it's going to be a pretty ding-dong battle for the last lap. And
I've seen Ryan Wood make some pretty big moves from about this distance that Cameron's actually behind him. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cameron actually has got that in his memory bank, just to say, you know what, Ryan, I've seen you do this before. When you least expect it, I could be coming through. We're on board here. This is fantastic footage from the Sim Speed TV guys here. Nice and smooth around that corner, Cameron Dance. He's in slipstream here. He's trying to tuck himself in. He's looking for the move. He can't quite there. He's got to remember there's a long straight towards the back end of the lap where he can set himself up. One of the hard charges is our own Travis Smith as well. So he's been working hard behind the scenes, but little did we know he's actually very, very quick in the simulator as well.
Yeah, it's good to see Travis's hard work pay off. He's been driving, obviously, the iKarting for the last couple of weeks, and still driving it tonight. And but cool to see him actually out there competing as well. So all the hard work's paying off. And as we watch this battle, just going down to the wire with these two, this is going to be a classic end there, Simon.
it is, and you really got to set this run up, into the turn 1, the second to last corner here as well. You really want to get a good clean exit onto the front straight, and if you're close enough, you're just going to have a lunge. And here we go. Ryan Wood's defending. Cameron Dance to the outside. Who's the last of the late breakers? But we could see an up and under here, but that's on the turn 1. We've got the rest of the lap to go. Where would your next opportunity think come from?
Well, I think he's going to be trying to set himself up for the second half of the lap again. But as we saw just then, in the middle of the apex, Ryan Wood just held the speed a little bit longer than what Cameron Dance, sort of expected. And again, that little nudge, which has opened up that 1-car buffer as well. So, he's only a young driver, he's only a teenage driver, but he's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of nuance about him, and he knows where to position the car on these last laps. But like I said, Cameron Dance is not going to go down without a fight. He knows there's no damages in these races, so I expect a move to come later on in this lap.
Yeah, very much. And obviously, Simon, you've driven around this track this week, so you can talk us through the last couple of corners and tell us what Cameron's going to be thinking inside that car.
Yeah, it's a real tricky one. You can't really have a bit of big lunge at that last corner. You see Ryan Wood's gone defensive, so Cameron's gone to the outside. Does he give him racing room? Yes, he does, but just doesn't quite get the run that he wants. And what an awesome finish. It's going to be Ryan Wood just over Cameron Dance across the sensational last lap that was. Next one, watching these two guys come from the back of the race is going to be awesome, I think. Then we've got Scott Fountain rounding out the top 3. So great effort by him. Stephen Beaumont 4th. The 17 entry of Zach Blinko in 5th. Andrew Jackson 6th, Dan Patrick in 7th, our own Travis Smith there coming in 8th, Daniel Harvey 10th, our hard charger from the previous weeks rounding out the top 10.
We're going to the modem simulation replay here of the final lap. We're going to see Jaden Ransley's fallen back to position 25, so I'm not sure if that's a strategic play to be starting towards the front row of race 2 for the 20-lap race tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see as we're on board the bright pink. Oh, he's just got unloaded. I'm not sure who car 33 is, but that is a serious launch. I've actually launched a few blokes like that. You know what? That's Sloan Frost getting him back for early on in the race. So payback is sweet, some say.
What a massive moment. So, and these two have been running obviously in the iKarting series since the start, since our very first night. So, been rubbing panels. What are we talking for the last 6 odd weeks? So, that nice low nose of the MX-5 Sloan's really made good use of it and got under the back of Jaden's car and launched him off into the left-hander. So, obviously it's a hell of a lot cheaper if you do it in the virtual world than it is the real world. So, really impressive, obviously, with our replays coming through there. That's really, really great to see.
Yeah, do you think Colleen or Les will be coming out with a rolled-up black flag for him then, or you reckon they were going to let it be settled on the...
Open black.
Not in that.
Black sort of way,
I don't think there's much in that, I don't think.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, let it manage itself.
NASCAR settle on the track, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's right.
That's something I'd like to see.
No, fantastic. So obviously, see our full race results all the way down to P10, Billy Fraser, Daniel Harvey, P9, Travis Smith, P8, Dan Patrick, Andrew Jackson, Zach Blinko, Stephen Beaumont, Scotty Fountain there in third. And obviously our two first and second places there, Ryan Wood, Cameron Dance. So great last lap. Can't wait for this next race there, team. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So in the second half of the grid, we've got Corey Green in 11th, Cameron Freeman Stewart in 13th, after Brown in 14th. Jensen Bate, that's a new name we haven't seen the past couple of weeks. Maybe he's been different services, has done a lot of practice, come up through in 15th. Corey Ross, Marco Giltrap, Liam Pink, Kyle Hollingsworth, and Josh Richmond a lap down there.
Yeah, look, I said the 20-lap race next one's going to be quite interesting to see how far up the field that Ryan Wood and Corey Green can actually make their way up, because... Oh, sorry, Cameron Dance. Sorry, I had my names mixed up there. Because they've got the speed over some of the other competitors, but it's still about passing them cleanly, not losing much time when you do make a pass, and also avoiding other people's carnage as well. So, like I said, they've got the speed on board, but that's not always the way that people win races as well. So they're going to have to be smart about the opening couple of laps, get themselves some clear track, and then, like I said, I'm probably thinking the top 5 is possible for them.
Yeah, very much so. It's obviously, apart from our penalty points that Simon talked about, that there's very little. Not going to lose a whole lot as far as damage and stuff like that goes. So you can get into the back of someone. If obviously in the real world, you've got a lot more damage associated to it. So, but you will find if you're trying to do a nice clean lap, it only takes one person to get into the back of you and can upset any rhythm that you may have had. So. The second race, this is going to be a really, really impressive team.
Yeah, and now those penalty points, they don't carry over, so they're just per race. So everyone's going to be starting again clean slate in terms of those penalty points for race 2. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many get used up on those first lap, because you only got 20, so that's only one a lap. So that's either that includes dropping wheels off, car contact, that. So in the first lap of the race, it's actually quite easy to sneak up and get 4 or 5 incident points without even sort of realizing it. So that could be a little factor here for the second race. But great effort here. I think we're going to just potentially slip to ads shortly, and then we'll be coming back for the race 2 soon.
On this week's Cool Cars, the new Volkswagen.
Time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey.
C2 is in the showroom, an all-new Lamborghini. Max Verstappen drives the Valkyrie, and we talk to Brendan Hartley. It's all just a click away.
Coming up to the line being chased, and it was Wayne Johnson. Unbelievable finish. It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loba is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side for the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett low. 4 wide at the stripe.
For all he's worth here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
We got big time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're going to lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage.
Looks like your car is toast. You'll need to tow back to pit lane, press and hold your reset button, and we'll come and get you.
Okay, everyone. So welcome back to the KartSport New Zealand streaming of the iSport racing. So just need a little bit of a break here whilst behind the scenes they get all of the grids ready for the 20-lap reverse race. And while just a little bit of information from some of our new sponsors. So earlier I spoke a little bit about Liquid Action. Apologies to them, they're not from Nelson, they actually are from Marlborough. That's what you get for getting a foreign girl to speak about them. But yeah, so Liquid Action is a company. They water most of the grapes that all of us drink when we're enjoying our wine from Marlborough. And the company directors, Matt and Lynn, mad about karting. Their son Arthur actually finished 14th in the first race we were watching earlier. And again, like I say, family massively involved in KartSport New Zealand. So Lynn's the secretary and treasurer at KartSport Marlborough, and then Matt is also the club captain as well. So they just said, I spoke to Matt earlier, and he said the opportunity to contribute to the ongoing enjoyment of motorsport, and in particular KartSport, is the reason they've Liquid Action have sponsored. And they just said they want to get one person, and if one person watches this that doesn't take part in karting right now, but it gets them back on, into the track when we do eventually get back, which hopefully is very soon, then that's what they've done this for. And Matt also, probably most importantly, is works really hard behind the scenes as an executive member of KartSport New Zealand. So obviously, KartSport New Zealand relies a lot on people like Matt, like our president, Graham Moore, especially in these tough times, to try and get us back racing again, which trust me, I know they're working really hard to get us back on track. So along with that, I'm just looking at the Facebook feed, and there's quite a lot of love for Tony Hurst. So Tony Hurst looks after the Cook Straight, and the 2 ferry tickets that he's put up is now live on Trade Me. So if you go onto the KartSport feed, you'll see the Trade Me link, and there you can bid for those 2 tickets, and all of the proceedings for that goes towards the KartSport New Zealand, and like I say, getting us back on track. So Simon and TC and Dave, they'll be talking about and hopefully interviewing some drivers coming up. Have you got anyone there, guys?
Yeah, we do. We've actually got a couple of guys in the waiting room. We've got both our battlers for the first race, Ryan Wood and Cameron Dance. So I think we've got Ryan Wood, who's popped in now. Ryan, Simon here, mate. Pretty good race. Bit of pressure there from old Cameron Dance.
Yeah, wasn't bad. Good start. Carnage behind us, but yeah, Cameron had some good pace at the end. So what we can do from the rear in this one.
Yeah, well, he worried about the incident points. Obviously, 20 laps, you got to try and keep your nose clean on this first few laps.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of cars out on track, so hopefully we don't get too many incident points. That's probably the biggest problem, or crashing out, obviously. But we should be good, and we can come through with Cameron.
Yep. And mate, you've obviously been at the pointy end for the past few weeks now. I mean, what's your secret to, what makes you so consistent up towards that top end?
Obviously putting in a little bit of effort and stuff like that, like myself, Jaden Ransley, Josh Richmond, a couple of us always are on the sim every day, put in a couple of hours and have a bit of fun, so that obviously helps. But yeah, just keeping race fit. This is probably a good preparation before we jump back into the karts and cars back underway. So yeah, it should be good.
Yep. No, exactly. You can't beat time and any sort of racing is good. So, mate, thanks for your time, and hey, good luck for this reverse grid run. As we know, anything can happen. So, pin your ears back and go.
As will do.
Cool. So good to hear from Ryan Wood there, and I think Tony. We're also doing a chat to Cameron Dance.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, we'll get Cameron in and we'll have a bit of a debrief on how he found the race.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting one. I didn't quite expect to have the pace in the end that I did against Ryan, but nevertheless, it was a pretty close finish, so I can't be too disappointed with that.
No, it was good, mate. You did a good job. We were watching it thoroughly from up inside the commentary box here. You just chipped away, drove the car nice and straight, and put young Woody under a bit of pressure there. He made a few mistakes, and you got onto the back of him. But then you done a good job defending, reasonably clean last couple of laps. But good to see you back. I know you've been doing a lot of iRacing in the virtual overseas, haven't you, recently?
Been doing various other series recently. I've just been pretty much all week testing at Indy for the 500 this weekend on iRacing. But yeah, nevertheless, good to be back and good to have some clean, nice racing.
Excellent, mate. It's certainly good to see you back out there, mate. So best of luck for this reverse grid. We'll be watching with anticipation your progress coming through.
Yes.
Excellent. So we're just short of a minute here for our start of our 20-lap feature race here this evening. As Simon said, full reverse grid. What are we thinking there, fellas?
It's going to be lap one, turn one's probably going to be the key, isn't it? Long run into a tight hairpin, you're going to see a big old concertina effect. So it'll be interesting to see who plays what card, who's going to attack, but then also who's going to maybe go a little bit conservative, just get through turn one and then press on from there. Dave, you like the mindset, you just go hard, go early, don't you? You'll be trying to win the race in the first corner.
Yeah, you want to try and build a little bit of a buffer. Obviously, we've got some big names starting towards the front end of the field for race 2. We've got Jaden Ransley, who had a bit of a disastrous race 1. He'll be starting towards the front row. Obviously, our Ferrari Academy driver, Marcus Armstrong, he'll be in the first couple of rows also as well. So look to them to sort of set the tone from the get-go, and then we're going to sort of see whether the guys like Ryan Wood and Cameron can actually get through cleanly and set their sights on the top 5 towards the end of the race.
Yeah, we'll be keeping on a few, but obviously Marcus didn't have the greatest race, so we'll be keeping an eye on him because he's going to be starting a fair way up as well too. So as we see our grid order start to come up on the screen, we can go through that with you, and that's certainly going to have a good breakdown because, as we said, this is going to be a full reverse grid. It's not reverse, haven't inverted the top 10 or anything. It's a full reverse grid. So while you're trying to come through the field, as we spoke to Woody, really got to try and keep that nose clean, don't you, Simon?
That's exactly right. It is going to be crucial, but the race is double length as well. We do have the quick repair, but you don't really want to use it, do you? Because although you don't use up a lot of time, any time, especially if one of the fast guys like Ransley or someone like that at the front of the field can get away, they're going to be really hard to pin back. But my tactic would be, just get through, probably go a little bit soft into turn one, make sure you're not cause up in any sort of incidents or damage the car up too much, and then sort of press on from there, because at least the field will sort of spread out. Because I think you can obviously can't win it, but you can easily lose a whole lot of time, and you definitely lose the race in turn one.
Hey Simon, how do you know that? What happened in your last race?
Yeah, tell us about that, Simon.
Yeah, well, I did a 6-hour race on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, I spun out in lap 1. So, I was doing a 6-hour race, 2 drivers, so fantastic start. And then to be honest, we're just on the back foot from there, really. But like I say, I'm definitely in that older group.
Yeah, good teamwork, mate.
Some of these young whippersnappers. Yeah, shame to try carry my weight, but then once I rolled the car with 3 hours to go, that really put a big old dent in our campaign to win the 2K Cup. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a battler on the sim, to be fair.
There's obviously a common denominator in that.
Yeah, I'd blame my gear too, Dave, to be honest.
Yeah. Definitely the screen, isn't it? You need a bigger screen, mate.
Yeah, I should have chucked on a new monitor for qualifying.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was following Mitch's progress through his Formula E, and it looked like he lasted about all of one corner as well from his Formula E race on the weekend.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't get up. I'm glad I didn't get up and watch it at 3 a.m. or whatever it was, but because that would have been pretty disappointing. But yeah, maybe some racing is just not really our forte. But hey, we're not going to give up. Maybe if we truck on like Ryan Wood and a few of those guys and spend a few hours a day. I did spend 12 hours on my simulator on Sunday. Maybe we can try and get as good as these other guys.
Well, like most good car salesmen, mate, you spend most of your day at your desk scrolling through your phone, don't you? So why don't you take your sim to work? You could have it set up in the showroom at Archibald and Shorter. Perfect.
Hey, that's not very nice. We're out there busy grafting. So maybe I might flick Richard a text and see if I can take my simulator in and yes, spend a few hours on it.
How's the car sales going since now that we've released some of the lockdown laws in New Zealand?
There's actually been, we've had some good amount of interest at the Land Rover end, so we've actually sold a few cars, even though showroom was closed. We still had a really good amount of inquiries, so which is really nice. Next week we're open up from throughout the whole Giltrap Group. We're up for appointments, looks like we've just caught on to the live stream here, and we are on lap 3. So just technical difficulty, sorry guys, but looks like we've got a few guys up towards the front.
Yeah, look, obviously, pretty exciting start to have Ryan Wood jump up from the back end of the field up into position 2 straight away. He's pretty loose out here. Not sure exactly what's happened there, but obviously some of the big losers, Jaden Ramsey's 5 laps down and they're only 3 laps into the race, so he's obviously had a pretty bad start, you'd say.
Yeah, so Jaden, true to form by the look of it, he's I don't know what box he's ticking on his entry form, but he's really getting some bad luck out there, which is a shame because it would be good to see him just have a nice smooth race and actually show us what he's capable of. As we jump on the number 12 entry of Corey Green, as it jumps on in this little battle here, and some really good onboard footage, obviously with the Hoonigan, some really cool livery on that vehicle there with the Ken Block style livery. As we take a good look, obviously Corey Green on the left hand side there, the Sodi IKS livery, as they make their run down the big long back straight into the fast right hander, and certainly massive amount of pressure coming from the back and being forced on Corey there, but he keeps his head, gets through the fast right hander, and then make their way. So we've got some really good drafting opportunities that we talked about earlier on. With this MX-5 real fixed racing category. Terminal speeds are down, but obviously that's where the drafting really comes in, that Dave and Simon that we've touched on before, as we get through this really cool little section on cab with right-hander, big long right-hander, really get that steering wheel turned as straight as possible, try and unhook the car, get the car going as straight as you can, as early as possible. And as we said, Simon, we've had some big movers and shakers, and Woody's already up to P2. Shame that we sort of missed that start there. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how we got from the back of the grid up to P2 in that record time. What an amazing start. But a few guys already gone a lap down. Hopefully we might have a replay of that soon. But, Cameron Dance, another big mover. He's managed to get his way up to, was 6th, just dropped back to 7th. So maybe there's a big shunt at the start. A few guys tried to win it in the first corner, and they cleared the path for the few guys at the back. But bit of wheel work here. Cameron Dance has been right on board with, right up behind Josh Richmond in the tow. Bit of bump drafting here, NASCAR style. Richmond's got to defend, so right on. Look, fantastic shot right at the front of the car. Can't get any closer to that. Can't quite go to the outside. Probably not a corner you can hang to the outside of. But he might prove me wrong here. No, just can't quite get it done. But if he can, just have a bit of overlap there, he is going to have the line for turn 2.
One of the cool things we're seeing in the top 5 is young Arthur Browan. So we were saying before that his mum and dad have sponsored the next sort of 8 weeks with Liquid Action as well. So really cool to see the Melbourne-based driver, the VMR young driver as well, in the top 5, mixing with some of these more experienced simulator racers, but still he's holding his own right there. We're on board with him in the number 47 MX-5 here.
Yeah, very much so. So it's good to. He's obviously got the Fernando Alonso livery there on the helmet, and obviously got the Spanish colours there on the helmet. So some really good onboard footage there, and it's really great to obviously have them supporting the iKarting for the next couple of weeks until we actually obviously get our backsides, track sides, as they say, in a real life form. So we've got some really great footage as they come off the last turn. Down the straight, everyone weaving, ducking and diving. It's big through the long, fast right-hander, running really wide. And as we keep an eye, obviously, back on the progress of Cameron Dance as he comes through the field. So a nice move into the right-hander there underneath Josh Richmond's. Let the car flow all the way to the left. Try and build that terminal speed up as you get off the turn. And a nice clean move there by Cameron's side.
Yeah, obviously exits in these little MX-5 are so crucial. You know, even if you need to sacrifice a little bit of that entry, just trying to carry that momentum through the corner and out. But what a stellar move here. We've got by Josh Richmond round the outside of Cameron Dance. Can't quite hang on, but he's going to be inside, then outside again. Booking just probably a little wise there, pulls them back behind Cameron Dance as they start to put the heat on young Arthur there. So hopefully he can just eyes forward, not worry about Cameron Dance because he'll make his way through. But look, he's got a fantastic run here as we're seeing the crankcase of the MX-5 out the back of his car. So that's 6 laps down into the 7th. Fantastic run there by Cameron. Pulls out and he's going to get that move done on the way into turn 1. But hey, Dave, what I noticed before, isn't it great that we see all these new liveries? We saw a soda cart livery. I've seen a barrel art livery. Good to see these young guys getting nice and creative.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the passion that these guys have taken from their kart racing to show their real colours in the racing scene as well. So obviously, when you're driving a simulator, you don't feel the bumps, and some of those things that you get to feel when you're driving a kart. But obviously, the mental focus that you can still learn by driving a simulator as well, you can really take that to your kart racing as well. So I think it's really cool for a lot of these young kids to still stay active on their simulator. Like I said, a lot of the racecraft stuff was still going to be sort of translated across their kart racing. So, and like I said, if you've got someone like Arthur racing against these junior max drivers and the senior max drivers, it's going to be great for his wisdom as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dave. You don't have that sort of that backside feeling, feeling the latitudinal grip of coming up through the car. But you get depending on what steering wheel setup they've got, they obviously get force feedback through the wheel, but it's sort of limited to that. And I remember speaking to Richard Moore about it. Richard didn't have force feedback on his wheel, so it was actually sort of driving blind, if you like, and really did struggle early on. As we see Corey Green have a massive moment through the right-hander into the fence, and he's probably going to go and have to get that damage fixed, which is a bit of a shame because he was a good showing there. As we come back on board the Ricardo kart pairing of obviously Ryan Wood and Stephen Beaumont. Michael Patrizia would be proud. Some really, really cool livery there. And Woody dancing around the back end of Stephen Beaumont there. So, and we'll see what happens there. Dave mentioned early on team orders. So we'll just sort of see. Obviously, we're only 8 laps in, so we're sort of not too far off that halfway point that we talk about. What's going to happen? Is Woody going to have a go? Is he going to be nice and patient, wait till later on in the run and just sort of see how that tyre dig and that fuel burn, who that advantage is at the end? We'll certainly be watching it. But team orders, I'm thinking not, lads, personally.
No, well, they definitely need to work together. Otherwise, they'll if they start battling, Andrew Jackson's only 1.9 seconds behind, so he can easily make up. He can easily lose a second. Where hey, they're already starting to cover, so there is no team orders here. They're not working together, but good on them. Head down. Let's go. The 2 Ricardo cat entries are fighting it out. But really long run here into turn 1. Stephen does have the inside line. Doesn't quite have that. Now he does. Ryan cuts back to the inside. If he's not too careful, he doesn't want to run too wide here, Ryan. Looks like he's just checked up in that middle of that corner again, in the middle of turn 1. Very smart racecraft. And that's probably what a lot of these guys are doing with the simulator racing as well, is just trying to hone that racecraft as well. You actually, do that, and the consequences aren't so bad if you do get it wrong, because it's only a game. But once they do get back into the real world of, whether it's nationals or genuine club days, or if they go over to Australia, they're going to have this racecraft, probably what they learned here in the sim racing, and they can definitely pay that onto the.
We see quite a different line from Ryan Wood through his last couple of corners, and it's quite interesting to see that he's probably one of the only drivers to use a tight entry into the left-hand corner, yet the drivers who are following aren't actually trying to copy and mimic Ryan Wood's lines. So, if I was a racing driver and I was sort of getting passed by a fellow competitor, I'd really be trying to focus and hone in on their particular lines to see if I can actually improve my own lap times as well. So it'd be interesting to see whether Stephen Beaumont now can learn a few things following his teammate Ryan Wood as he's actually trying to look to make a pass. But interesting to see whether he's going to follow his same lines or whether he's going to actually try his own.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. If you've got someone that's come through and they're carrying more pace than you, they've got in front of you, and you're obviously still hanging on the back of them because the actual lap time margin isn't too different. You'd certainly take notice of where they're actually placing their car on the racetrack, because there is a reason why they've come from behind and actually got by you on the racetrack. So Stephen probably just needs to pull back a bit, 85, 90%, just drive the car and a little bit more of an easier window, if you like. Just have a look at where Woody's placing the car, and no doubt, probably without even changing too much, he's probably going to make a slight gain. But this MX5 racing is very much, you can sort of liken it to a lot of four-stroke stuff or very low horsepowered stuff. You've got to try and keep the corner radiuses down, trying to keep the corner as short as possible on entry, but then at the same time use as much of the track on exit as you can, try and make those straights as long as possible as we jump on board the 11th place position of Simon Burling-Claridge out of Wellington, actually one of our stewards from down there, so really great to have a KartSport New Zealand volunteer on board in our MX5 race tonight, and he's doing a really solid job there in P11 in the number 44 entry. Only 20 seconds off the lead, obviously not a margin he's going to shrink anytime soon compared to Woody and those front runners, but doing a really solid job there, just ahead of Cameron Freeman, the Invercargill driver there in the number 18 this one.
Yep, and it looks like just on the top right of the SimSpeed logo, Ryan Wood really making the most of that clean air. Fastest lap 10, so 23.0, so pretty solid pace he's got there. So obviously doesn't have too much damage on his car. But great to see, as you mentioned, a steward out there, racing with our our competitors, and I think even our vice president Brent Malhop is out there as well. So not on this server, but I know he's out in other servers. So anyone can join our virtual club days. Just send us a message, and we'll find a way to get you into whatever our servers, because it's just a fun, relaxed series that we're running every Tuesday night over the next sort of 8 weeks or so. Is anything like this happening at Aussie, Dave, or are we quite ahead of the times here in New Zealand with our virtual?
No, you guys are doing a great job. There's no doubt you've put in a lot of effort, and like I said, each week we're slowly improving. We've got the broadcast this week, got some sponsors on board. Just following on with Simon Claridge here, I know there's actually, if I was taking part in an Australian series, there's definitely a few stewards that I'd love to line up in the eSeries category.
We love your honesty.
You say that, Dave, but Simon's actually getting quite a lot of love from the comments. So not only is the steward racing, but we actually have some drivers cheering him on. So
No, nothing against Simon. Like I said, just a few Australian stewards that I'd love to line up if I had an opportunity.
I know. I was just saying.
What about you, Tony? Is there anyone that you'd like to sort of line up if you had the opportunity?
Oh, mate. It's been a long time, and to be fair, I always got on pretty well with the stewards, Dave. You know me. I never had any enemies on the racetrack, mate. So, but and I'm too old and tired, mate, to be doing stuff like that. So, but I'd just be probably around maybe P35, just taking the time, just driving at 75% because I've got a big day at work tomorrow. So, just taking care of myself. So, but as we get back to our leaderboard there, teams. So, Woody's just managed to drag out just a slight 1.5 second lead. Remember, Cameron Dance pegged the same lead back last time on Woody in that last race. So we'll keep a good eye on that. Andrew Jackson still in P3 there. He's got a really comfortable margin from our sim speed man, Scotty Fountain there in P4. Cameron Dance, a fair margin off the lead there for him, sort of 11 seconds. So if he can claw that back, he's probably going to be one of the men that could. So we'll keep an eye on Cameron. And good to see Josh Richmond there still having a clean race in P6. Josh doing a really good job. The young Rotax light driver out of the DCR stable in Auckland. So got some really good names up there in that top 6. Daniel Harvey, the South Island driver as well. Got a really good mix of ages, a really good mix of sim racing experience. So this our iKartSport really ticking every box for everyone. We've got all these different age groups and karters on the track at once. It's really, really good, Si.
Yeah, it is. And we've got a fantastic little battle brewing here between Daniel Harvey, Dowdle, and Simon, our steward, out of Wellington. So, yeah, they've caught Daniel Harvey. So they're just going to try running 3 together. You'll obviously catch the cars ahead, straight ahead. But I think they're over that. They want to battle to get up into 8th position there. But it'll be interesting that we can't quite see our points in terms of the incident points, because that's always going to be crucial towards the end. But out of these two, it's actually Simon who's got the fastest lap with a 23.8. Daniel Harvey's the slowest, and he's in 7th with a 24.4. And Dowdle with a 24 flat. That's their fastest lap time. So it's definitely going to be all on here. Simon's got a really good run heading down to turn 1. Doesn't quite have the right line. But Dowdle goes super deep, misses his braking marker. That's it. He was obviously watching where Simon was and just missed that braking marker. It just shows you how easily it can be.
Yeah, it was a pretty late lunge. There's no doubt about it. As we're looking towards the top end of our leaderboard, we're seeing the same names as race 1. Obviously got Ryan Wood at the top. We've got Scott Fountain, who was position 3 in race 1. We've got Cameron Dance in position 5 as well. So the MX-5 is obviously like an entry-level car, but it shows that if you are smooth and you're smart about how you go about your racing, you can still work your way to the front. It's not always about the fastest cars, always the easiest to drive or the most fun to drive. We're seeing some really close racing through the MX-5 categories over the last couple of weeks. And like I said, I think it's been a bit of a leveler for a lot of the drivers out there.
Yeah, it's very much a car that you've got to be very calculated in the way that you drive it, Dave, as you said. So be very accurate. The car moves around a little bit, so you've sort of got to limit the slide as much as you can. Try and keep the car as straight as possible. And saying that the car is quite forgiving from what I've seen, obviously personally haven't driven the thing. I couldn't drive myself out of a greasy paper bag in any sort of simulator style stuff, but certainly from the visuals that we watch, the car is certainly quite forgiving. As we Simon, big move down into the right hander. They've gone narrow, turned in early. Now we should have a good run off there as he can straighten the wheel up, roll that throttle on, try and get a good run off there. He's doing a really good job. Daniel Harvey's got the elbows up and carrying a fair bit of damage on that Rockstar Energy drink livered car, so he's certainly under the pump here. He's run wide. Simon's got a good run off there. And he's right up under the rear bumper. We can sort of see a good picture of the bottom and lower uprights in the front of Simon's MX-5 there. So some great visuals coming through from the SimSpeed team as we see the race winding down with 5 laps to go. Ryan Wood still at the lead. Stephen Beaumont. So Woody's taken that lead out to 2.8 seconds now. Andrew Jackson still safely there in P3, but it looks like Scotty Fountain from the SimSpeed team, he's dragged a couple of seconds out of Andrew Jackson in P3 there, Simon.
Yeah, I think it's, I'm not too sure if Simon in P9 has done a lot of racing before, but this might be really interesting if he hasn't. It'll give him a really good perception as well of what it's like, being inside a race and seeing racing from a different, perspective, compared to being from the outside. So might help him, put himself in situations when he's stewarding at racing coming in the coming seasons when we can get back out and running. We were obviously all hoping there was going to be a level 2, but obviously with the team leading the country reducing the gatherings of 10, doesn't look like that's going to be. But hopefully the Ministry of Sport and Sport New Zealand can get Fan Club Day for months, wouldn't it, guys?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, we're edging closer. Obviously, the hierarchy above us who make bigger decisions than what we have to make. They're trying to take things with good precaution so that we don't fall back into those level 3 or level 4. So I think if everyone can just we've already had to bide our time for at least, the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks. If we can just sort of wait another week or two and just keep things safe for now, then we'll be able to jump into things a lot quicker than what we actually we hoped for as well. So club racing will obviously start things off for us as we move back into racing, and then obviously moving towards those slightly bigger races and getting some more interaction between the North and South Islands.
Yeah, definitely, Dave. So here we go. Simon Burling, coach, finally made the move on Daniel Harvey, but Daniel's managed to hang on the outside there and actually still get a good run down towards the start-finish line. So Simon just got the blowtorch on full temperature on Daniel here, and he's managing to hold him up, and actually hasn't really let him through too much. So Daniel's doing a really good job. And even though the car is moving around a lot, so he's probably got that tyre out of its operating window now. So still doing a really impressive job. Slightly battle-scarred car as he runs down to the right-hand side, making Simon's job a lot harder as we get into the left-hander. Plenty of attitude out of both cars. Both dropping wheels off, so they're both trying really, really hard as we ride on board on the top of the roll cage, just aboard the A-pillar of the number 9 entry there. Sorry, the number 44 entry of Simon. And you see him just chewing away the back of Daniel Harvey's number 55 entry there. So these guys still going hammer and tongs. 3 laps to go, Simon.
There is, yeah, but what they've got to be careful, if they keep battling like this, Dowdle on the last lap, who's behind them, caught them up by over a second. So if they keep battling like this with the next couple of laps, he's going to be, they're going to have a 3-way battle there with the 23 entry right on the tail. So if Simon wants to get this done, he needs to make it one move and one move only. Otherwise, he's going to be attacking and defending all at once, which you don't really want to do. But look at the attitude there from Daniel Harvey's car, sliding through the S's. Needs to get a good run through here at the second to last corner. There he is, 23, and even on this lap alone, they matched him in the first 2 sectors. So let's see what they can do in the last one and get into that draft. But see, going defensive once again, this is going to be that prime opportunity for him to catch up. But moving a couple down the straight, but that's okay. Simon's now moved to the inside. Solid break here. Let's hope he doesn't miss that braking zone. Lots of attitude on the car. Daniel sticks the outside, can't quite get it done. So, like I say, he did it that once. Now he needs to not look in his mirrors and try just build that gap.
Yeah, we're seeing that the top 3 obviously holding station with only 2 laps remaining. Obviously, Ryan Wood to do the double tonight is a big effort to not only win from the front row, but also to win from the back row as well. So, got the new livery happening tonight. We can see the Patrizia Course Ricardo Kart livery. Stephen Beaumont going to lead home a 1-2 finish for that team as well. So, a great effort. Andrew Jackson in position 3. He's got to try and hold on. He's only got a 1 second advantage from Scott Fountain. So, the pressure's going to be on over the last, 1 3/4 laps left in this race to see whether they can hold on for the final podium position. Otherwise, going to give Scott Fountain his second podium for the night.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. And, obviously, Scotty Fountain hailing from Auckland, been overseas and what have you, like most young Kiwis. But Scotty actually has a really interesting race background. He grew up racing karts at Mount Wellington like Simon and that same whole age group there. So he's actually a very accomplished racer himself, Scotty. Done a lot of Formula V stuff, and his dad was involved in racing Integras and stuff as well too. So Scotty's not only very technically advanced as far as all this computer stuff goes in sim racing, he's actually a really good applied racer in the real world as well too. So Scotty be chipping away. You can see he's using all the track, plenty of dust being kicked up in that magenta and white coloured MX-5 there, and he's just bridging that gap slowly, just under the 1 second mark. If he can get within half a second there, team, I think he's going to have a sniff and just get inside that, not that so much that DRS zone that we were joking about before, but we can get inside that toe. Scotty will have a crack. He's not scared.
No, that's exactly right. Even on the last lap alone, he caught up, 3 tenths in the first sector, another 10th in the middle sector. So he's going to, any mistake by Andrew Jackson here, Scott's going to be right on there and trying to get on that final podium spot. Deep break into turn 1, just misses the apex, but like we said, it's actually all about that exit, trying to carry the speed through the corner, trying to get the gaps just down to 8 tenths now, so not too far off. Long run into the last corner as well, guys. So you've got to remember, even if he can make up this time through here, he can get into that slipstream as a bit of dust kicks up from Andrew Jackson. So he's obviously watching the mirrors. He can sense that Fonte's coming after him. Scott's using all the curbs, and it looks like he may have just cooked it there. Oh no, he was pushing so hard. So poor old Scott. He knew there wasn't too much pressure behind, but he's blowing it there. But he'll be still happy with that as we move on to Ryan Wood. Another class performance, Dave, isn't it, by Ryan? He don't think we would have picked him to have such a dominant victory from the.
No, look, he's been a class act over the last few weekends, so full credit goes to the amount of effort that he's put in. It's showing a great reward for him on the racetrack as well. To win from the back end and also the front of the field just shows his class tonight. Got some great, like I said, great stories. Obviously got Blake Dowdle, Palmerston driver in position 10 as well. So it's great to see these guys with over 60 drivers competing on the server tonight. Just to make the A final is a big achievement in itself. We're just following on board with Marco Giltrap in position 12. He's about to cross the line in front of Cameron Freeman as well. So great from some of these young kids who are racing some more experienced rivals, but they're still learning a lot along the way.
Yeah, great to have Marco Giltrap featuring inside that sort of top 15. Marco's sort of had some mixed luck in the last couple of nights that we've had. And that North Island Rotax heavy champ there, Marco Giltrap. Great to see Marco get inside that top 15. A really, really great effort, and what is a very hard class to perform in. So that's a brilliant effort by him. So we see our overall results there, teams. So what a stunning night of driving by Ryan Wood, taking out the win in the second heat tonight from the back of the grid. We might add a fully inverted grid this evening. So well done, Ryan. Stephen Beaumont, P2, Andrew Jackson, Scotty Fountain, Cameron Dance, Josh Richmond, Arthur Brown, Simon Berry and Claridge. There's our steward from Wellington. Well done, Simon. Daniel Harvey and Paul Dowdle routing outside the top 10 there, Simon. What a fantastic last race to finish the night off.
Yeah, mate, absolutely fantastic. So I think my stream slipped a little bit behind here. My dial-up internet in Avondale just didn't quite
come on, mate,
catch up towards the end. But yeah, fantastic race once again. Just all those familiar names that we're just used to seeing once again popping up to the top end of the time sheet. So that practice makes perfect. Dave, how far behind was I? How long ago did the race finish?
No, you're only about half a lap behind, mate. I'd already seen Scotty Fountain come off into the dirt, but you were still commenting his turn 1. So I thought, look, let him go with it. He's doing a great job, but obviously a massive thanks goes out to SimSpeed TV for jumping on board tonight. Obviously, we know Liquid Action has helped sponsor the evening. Obviously, big thanks goes out to Cook Strait Crossing as well. So if you guys want to jump on board the ferry, go and see trademe.co.nz and go and get the best deal from Tony Hurst as well.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. You know, the nights like this wouldn't be possible, obviously, with our normal partners, Giltrap Group, obviously Carter's Tyres, still heavily involved, and but really cool to see the traction that iKartSport is getting, having these new sponsors come on board, as you mentioned. So, and probably a good chance to let Tiff jump in and update us with any banter or anything that's been coming through the social media side, buddy.
Yeah, just there's quite a lot of love for Arthur Brown. So obviously one of the young guys I think one's up there. I'm not sure everyone's age, but pretty sure he's the youngest of at least the top 10. So Ollie Workman actually saying how awesome Arthur was doing. And just remember, there are at least 5 servers going up. So it's a pretty good problem to have that this iKartSport was majorly oversubscribed. Yeah, there's more than one race going on. Unfortunately, they're doing everything they can, but we can only broadcast one at a time. So just some of the names, I know Isaac, Ryan Bailey, who I used to race against when I first came over here. So they're the couple of names that have won some of the other servers this evening as well. So hopefully we'll see them maybe next week on the main race. But like I say, good race to have. I remember, especially back in the UK, but I know stories where you guys had to qualify to get into races on the real track. So it's a good problem to have. Too many people wanting to race, but just remember the Cook Strait ferry ticket auction is up. Trade me. So if you the link is basically on all of our viewing platforms now. So on the Facebook page, go on there, bid away, low reserve, and obviously you'll be helping KartSport at the same time.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Tiff. Those auctions, so we all like that inter-islander, battle here between North and South Island cross. If if you're in Wellington, head across to the fantastic track of Blenheim and Nelson, bid on these auctions. But yeah, we've got some results here from the other race. We've got Richard Moore, Ryan Bailey, Caleb Hartley, Shane McLaren, who's the president of KartSport Canterbury. So good to see him get involved, and Isaac Fletcher. Mate, you guys, fantastic night of racing once again, wasn't it? These MX-5s seem to be the car that actually proves lots of tight, close racing, doesn't it? And, we can really see the guys who are fine-tuning their racecraft come through to.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all for this MX-5 racing. Like I said, smooth is fast, generally from a karting point of view, and we're seeing the same results happen in the MX-5. A lot of slipstreaming, a lot of close battles, still the occasional shunts, but that's going to happen in any category or any car. So, like I said, plenty of action tonight. Great to see Ryan Wood taking the double victory tonight, but hopefully within the next week or two with this iRacing, we can actually see some karts back on the track to include with our actual eSport series.
Yep, definitely agree, Dave. And really cool to know what was going on with the other service. On my iPhone 3, I can only have so many things going at once. So it's really good to have someone a bit techie like Tiff going on the social media side. So cool to see what's happening in the other service. So I think that probably about wraps it up. I think their team, another great night of racing. Thanks to SimSpeed for jumping on board and changing things up a little bit hard, or a little bit tricky for us to get our head around the new platform and how it'll work, but I didn't think it went too bad. And I thoroughly enjoyed it anyway, I know that much. And certainly looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Thanks, cool. Guys.
Thanks, team. See you soon.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to here. Oh, my God. Oh, big crash. Oh, my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh, no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh, my God.
God, what?
To prove it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real. I'm feeling so ruthless. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made of. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up. It's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time. Nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down. It's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise. Don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown. We know what it takes to be reaching.